Hey guys, this is Maddie Berkey from Paleo Girl in the City and Mad Wellness. And I just wanted to take a couple moments with you today to talk about surviving the holidays because the holidays are marvelous. They're so fun, but they can also be stressful as all get up. And that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about how can we reduce the amount of stress we have in the holidays so that when January comes around, we don't feel like we need that whole month of detox, so that when January 1st comes around instead, we feel awesome. And part of this is just about taking back the holidays, about taking ownership, about how you feel and how you're going to enter the new year. So I have 10 tips for you today on how to go through the holidays like a champ and freaking emerge on January 1st ready to go. So tip 1 is choose your battles. And I think this is one of the most important things or mindsets with which to enter the holiday season. Because if we enter the holidays being like, I will be so strict and so awesome and I will never deviate, we are just setting ourselves up for failure. Because when push comes to shove, some Christmas cookie is going to get past your line of defense. And if you've set up this construct that I can never fail, that one failure is going to lead to a sense of failure, which we want to get away from, but B, a whole spiral of other events happening. So if we set up more of this construct of I'm going to pick my battles, or really I have a choice about how I'm going to respond, how I'm going to exist through the holiday seasons, then that one Christmas cookie, it's going to be one Christmas cookie versus the beginning or the impetus to like what I like to refer to as like a sugar shame spiral, which we want to avoid at all costs. So tip 1, pick your battles and create a construct of choice. Tip 2 is following on tip 1, don't pick to lose all your battles. And so what I mean by that is a lot of times when we go in the holidays, we just acknowledge that it's going to be one big epic eating bonanza and that no matter what, I'm going to feel sick. Like there's this inevitability that I'm going to enter January with 10 extra pounds and feeling bad about myself and just knowing that I need to do this whole detox. And instead, well, we want to give ourselves the opportunity to have some treats, have some indulgences. We don't want to just let the wheels totally come off. And again, that's where choice comes in. Giving ourselves the opportunity to approach every situation as a unique situation and with the ability to decide, like, is that worth it? Do I want to eat that? Do I want to go to this party? Giving yourself the option to choose is going to allow you to both win some battles and concede some battles. And that's fine. That's what this is about. It shouldn't be a binary situation of I will be totally squeaky clean or I will just go for it. It's all about a little bit of nuance. So tip 3 is going to be think. And this is again connecting on to our first 2. But taking a moment to think before you act is I mean, it's huge in life, but it can be really, really huge in a party scenario. And what I mean by that is it's so easy to just impulse grab whatever's on that buffet table. And taking 15 seconds to just pause, think about how is that going to taste? How am I going to feel? Am I really hungry? Am I full? Taking just 15 seconds to run through that, maybe 30, can be really helpful to you, again, creating this idea of choice. So instead of just eating and then reacting later, what we're doing here is it's creating 2 paths. Either A, I look at that delicious homemade Christmas cookie and I'm like, okay, I love sugar cookies. More than that, I love sugar cookies with pink frosting on them. That is going to be delicious. I know it's going to be delicious because I know the person that made it. And I am going to, at the end of that cookie, feel like a freaking rock star. because it is going to be delicious and I'm going to love it. Or let's say we're looking at like a kind of sketchy 7-layer dip and you're like, I know I saw that in the grocery store. I know where that was made. You know, I kind of like 7-layer dip, but I'm not sure if I really like 7-layer dip. I'm probably going to feel kind of gross and kind of like I'm not going to feel good after I eat that. I'm not going to feel as positively about it. My body's not going to feel good. And just giving yourself the opportunity to run through both of those scenarios and then decide at the end, like, yes, I will eat that cookie, or no, you know, I actually don't need it, or I don't want it. And same thing with the 7-layer dip. Like, you know what? I know that's kind of not the best option, but I want to eat it. Sure. Or I don't need it. That's not the best option for me. I'm not going to feel good. We've either way taken ownership of that decision, and ownership is going to be what prevents us from just feeling, again, creating this shame spiral and feeling guilty and creating just a whole another slew of events that we're going to not feel good about and not be able to take ownership of. So think. That's the next step. That's tip number 3. Number 4 is let it go. If, let's say, either choice, say you go for that 7-layer dip and you're like, oh, that was not my best choice. Let it go. Like, it happened. Wash your hands of it and approach everything anew. When we start to get fixated on decisions, especially bad decisions, that's again when we create this underlying feeling of guilt and shame, and that is what propels us to making more bad choices. So no matter what we decide to do, if we can just let that decision be a decision that we've made and not fixate on it, it's really going to help every event thereafter be independent. Sweet. So think. Take a moment. Think. Number 5. When we try and perhaps eat a little bit differently than the rest of the crowd or try to eat more healthfully in the holidays, that always invites discussion and questions and all the above. Some of them nice, some of them not as nice. And I found the most helpful thing to deal with this is to be genuine and straightforward. So I personally am paleo. I don't eat grains or legumes, and I'm pretty careful with dairy. And that always invites questions wherever I go. So especially if I'm eating, say, something that's not paleo, I'm eating like a delicious sourdough roll. Someone will inevitably ask me, is that paleo? Like, I thought cavemen didn't have sourdough. And, or on the counter thing, I'm just not eating all those delicious sourdough rolls or what's on the table. And I get questions there too, like, why are you eating that? Were you on some kind of diet? And for me, I found the best way is to be honest and genuine and say, you know, I actually, I don't really eat grains. I don't feel great when I eat them. I felt a lot better since cutting them out. And yeah, you know, that's honestly pretty much my answer. Instead of skirting around and saying, like, I'm on a diet, I'm trying to really, I don't know. Like, there's no reason to be embarrassed about a different way of eating. And you also don't need to give any more details than you want. Saying I just feel better when I'm eating a certain way, I think is one of the best ways to approach it, because who's going to argue with, I feel better? Like, oh, what? You should eat this so you don't feel better. It's really a great way to just clear the air. And it also invites further conversation if they want, but also a really wonderful change in conversation if they don't want to engage or if you don't want to engage. So be genuine, be authentic, be straightforward. But then leading into number 6, friggin' stand up for yourself too. If someone, I like to call it maybe an enabler, if a junk food enabler starts getting on your case about how you're eating, stand up for yourself. It doesn't mean you have to be like super combative and awful, but it also means you don't have to take crap for eating differently than they do. So knowing that you have the right to eat exactly how you want to eat is huge, and not letting anyone question that is also huge. And again, it can be as simple as, you know what? I feel better when I don't eat grains. Done. Done. No one can argue with that. So now the first one through 6 were a little bit less tangible. 7 through 10 are some more tangible tips on how to survive the holidays. And number 7 is easier said than done. I totally get that. But it's host. Host your Thanksgiving or your Christmas Eve or, your friend holiday party. And what hosting allows you to do is it just gives you a whole lot more ownership over the menu and over the theme, and just gives you some control, and also puts you in a comfortable scenario, or in regards to you are in a comfortable context. It can be a lot to host, so be aware of that. But you also especially can control the main course, which can be really helpful. Number 8, this is one of my favorite in life when I'm going to some sort of party, and that's to pregame. And what I mean by pregame is, if you're not sure about what kind of food is going to be at whatever party, or even if you are sure and you know that it might not be the best for you, then don't go hungry. Have a snack, and have a good solid snack. Like, have some protein, have some fat, and feel really satisfied and on your game before you embark on the holiday party buffet table. When I end up going to those kind of parties hungry, then inevitably I make decisions I regret because I have a tummy ache after, and I just know that wasn't the right food for me. But when I go without a lot of hunger, when I feel really solid and stable, then that idea of choice comes in much more pertinently, and that I can look at something and be like, well, I'm not hungry, so do I actually want to eat that? And that is a huge distinction than going somewhere and be like, oh my God, I just have to eat something because I'm going to go crazy. So pregame with a really smart, satisfying snack, like have, part of a chicken breast and some avocado, or a nut butter packet and some jerky if you're on the run, but something just to give you a solid base. Let's see, number 9, continuing on that, is bring an emergency stash. I am always that kid that has jerky and nuts in my purse, just in case I am out and somewhere crazy and don't have food and I'm starving. And having a backup snack at a party is huge. That way, if you didn't realize, you thought there'd be things you want to eat, but there aren't things you want to eat, you don't have to just cave and be like, okay, whatever, I'll just eat it. No, you can have what you brought, have a little snack. And then, again, you can really monitor what it is you want to eat. So, pregame, I'm bringing an emergency stash. 9 is bring a dish to share, too. Bring something you want to eat. Bring something you can eat and you'll feel good eating. But also, bringing a dish is a really wonderful way to introduce your friends and family and coworkers to how it is you're eating, how you feel good eating, and your version of a more healthful, nourishing holiday. It invites a really wonderful opportunity to just talk about food and health and wellness and you and why you feel great. So bringing something that you love and are excited about is also, I think, a really wonderful way to not only become part of the party, but also, to talk about health. It's great, and to enjoy it, and to cook, to get in the kitchen, all those great things. So I hope this helped. Our goal is just to take back the holidays, to feel good and nourished, and make them about friends and family and food and health and nourishment, versus like this spiral of guilt and shame and stress and just counting down the days so you can detox again. That's not what the holidays are about. They should be about all those formal things, all the good stuff. So hope this was helpful. Check out for more tips. You can go over to my website, which is Paleo Girl in the City and madwellness.com. But happy holidays, guys. Enjoy.